My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 29 years old. And the strange thing about the moment your life quietly begins to fall apart is that it never sounds like a disaster when it starts. There's no crash, no shouting, no dramatic scene where everything shatters at once. Sometimes, it begins with something as simple as a text message. I was standing in my kitchen when it happened. Still in my work clothes, shoes barely off, keys resting on the counter like I had just paused in the middle of a normal life. My phone buzzed in my hand. A message from Ethan, my boyfriend. 2 years together. Not living together, but close enough that his toothbrush lived next to mine. His hoodie draped over my couch. His favorite coffee mug permanently claimed a spot in my cabinet. We weren't casual. We were building something. Or at least, I thought we were. The message read, "Hey, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I need some space to focus on myself right now. Please don't contact me for a while. I'll reach out when I'm ready to talk. I hope you understand." I stared at it longer than I'd like to admit. Not because I didn't understand the words, but because I understood them too well. It wasn't a breakup. Not officially. But it was the kind of message that left you suspended in uncertainty, which somehow felt worse. No explanation. No conversation. Just a quiet withdrawal disguised as self-reflection. Ethan had been distant for weeks. Fewer texts. Canceled plans. Excuses that didn't quite connect. Work stress. Headaches. His sister needed help with something vague that never seemed to resolve. I told myself it was temporary. That relationships go through phases. That trust means giving someone the benefit of the doubt. So I did. I gave him space, even before he asked for it. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could have asked questions, demanded clarity, forced a conversation, but I didn't. Because I was raised to believe that if someone wants to leave, you don't chase them. You let them go with dignity, even if it costs you. So I type, "Take all the time you need," and hit send. That was it. No drama. No tears. Not yet. Just silence. The weekend passed in a strange kind of normal. I cleaned my apartment. Deep cleaned. Like scrubbing surfaces could somehow quiet the unease sitting in my chest. I caught up on shows I'd been ignoring. Met my friend Lena for drinks Saturday night. I told her about the message somewhere between the second cocktail and the noise of a game playing on the bar TV. She gave me that look. The one women give each other when something feels off, but they don't want to say it too loudly. "That's weird timing," she said carefully. "Yeah," I replied. "You okay?" "I will be." And at the time, I believed that. I kept telling myself that uncertainty was temporary, that whatever this was, it would resolve, one way or another. Then Monday came, and everything changed. I was at work when I got the message. An Instagram DM from an account I didn't recognize. No profile picture. Barely any followers. A blank presence. For a second, I almost ignored it. But something about it made me open it. "Hey, I know this is weird. We don't really know each other, but I think you deserve to know what's actually going on. I've been watching this for 2 months, and I can't stay quiet anymore. Check these screenshots." My stomach tightened. Before I even opened them, some part of me already knew. The account belonged to Ethan's roommate, a girl I had met maybe 3 times in 2 years. Quiet. Always in her room. Headphones in. Observing more than speaking. I tapped the first screenshot. Then the second. Then the third. The contact name at the top of the messages said, "Mom." But the conversation underneath wasn't motherly. Not even close. It was casual. Blunt. Strategic. Girl 1 is gorgeous, but honestly, she's too high maintenance. I can't deal with that long term. Girl 2 has the corporate job, solid income, not exciting, but stable. That's a plus. Girl 3 is fun, like really fun, but no future there. Then, there was me. Olivia's safe, reliable, Not the most exciting, but she treats me well. Good long-term option. I just want to see if I can do better before locking anything in. I stopped breathing. Not dramatically. Not in a way anyone could see. Just quietly. Like something inside me had paused. I told her I need space to focus on myself. She bought it immediately, didn't even question it.
Investment.
Evaluation. Options. 2 years of my life. Reduced to a comparison chart. I read everything 3 times. Not because it was complicated, but because I needed to be absolutely sure that I wasn't misunderstanding. I wasn't. The anger didn't explode. It didn't burn hot. It moved slowly.
Cold. Precise.
The kind that sharpens your thoughts instead of clouding them. Another message came in. From the roommate. He's been doing this for about 2 months, rotating between all of you, making sure schedules don't overlap. I've watched him lie to you on the phone while getting ready to see someone else. I'm moving out next month. I can't live around this anymore. I swallowed. Hard. Then typed back. Do you know who the other girls are? 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Yes. A second later, 3 Instagram profiles appeared on my screen. 3 women, smiling in photos with him. Dinner dates. Weekend trips. Captions that sounded familiar. Too familiar. Each of them thinking they were the only one, just like I had. I stared at their faces for a long time. Not with jealousy, not even with anger, but with something heavier.
Recognition.
We weren't rivals. We were victims in a game none of us knew we were playing. And that's when something inside me shifted. I didn't cry. I didn't call him. I didn't demand explanations. Instead, I made a decision. A quiet one. A simple one. And somehow, the most devastating one of all. I opened my messages, selected every screenshot, and hovered over the send button. Because if he wanted space, I was about to give him exactly that. Just not the kind he expected. I forwarded every screenshot to all 3 women. Same message. Hey, I know we don't know each other, but I think you deserve to see this. We've apparently all been dating the same man. He's been comparing us like options while telling each of us something different. I'm sorry you're finding out this way. Then I blocked Ethan. His number. His Instagram. His email. Everything. Complete silence. He had asked for space. So I gave it to him permanently. I expected anger. I expected confusion. I expected maybe one of the women to call me crazy. What I didn't expect was how fast the whole thing caught fire. By Tuesday morning, my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered because I was waiting on a work call. A woman's voice snapped through the speaker. What is wrong with you? I blinked. Who is this? You know exactly who this is. I really don't. A sharp breath. I'm Ethan's best friend. Why would you do that to him? I almost laughed. To him? He's falling apart because of you. Because of me? I said quietly. I forwarded words he wrote himself. You had no right to share private conversations. Private conversations where he admitted to lying to 4 women at once. He was figuring things out. No, I said. He was manipulating people. Silence. Then she said, colder, you could have just walked away quietly. I did walk away quietly. What I wouldn't do was let 3 other women keep walking blind. She hung up after calling me something I won't repeat. And still, I felt strangely calm. The first woman messaged me that night. Her name was Maya. She was the one Ethan had described as too high maintenance. She sent one sentence first. I was about to move in with him. Then another. We looked at apartments last week. I stared at the screen, feeling the ache of it. Not just for me. For her. For all of us. She told me Ethan had said he was ready for a real future, but he was tired of temporary relationships, that she made him want to become serious. The same script. Different audience. The second woman, Rachel, took longer to believe me. At first, she accused me of faking the screenshots. I didn't blame her. Denial is sometimes the mind's last protection. So I sent timestamps. The roommate's contact. Everything she needed. A day later, Rachel came back. Different. I feel stupid, she wrote. Then she told me she had helped Ethan pay for car repairs. Covered dinners. Paid for a weekend trip because he said money was tight. All while he was calling her stable but boring behind her back. The third woman never replied. Her account went private within hours. Maybe that was her way of surviving it. Honestly, I respected that. By Wednesday night, Ethan found a way around the block. My phone rang at 11:07 p.m. Different number. I should have ignored it, but some instinct made me answer. Olivia. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying, or wanted me to think he had. I can't believe you did this to me. I closed my eyes. There it is. Please, just let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I read what you wrote. That was venting. Guys say stupid things when they're stressed. You compared 4 women like business investments. I wasn't cheating. I sat up slowly. You told each of us we were exclusive. I was just keeping my options open. That's cheating, Ethan. He went quiet. Then softer. I was going to choose you. Something inside me twisted. Not because I believed him. Because once, I would have wanted to. You called me safe, I said. Reliable. Not exciting. A long-term option. I didn't mean it like that. You meant every word when you thought I'd never see it. His breathing changed. The softness vanished. You ruined everything. No, I said. I turned on the light. He laughed once, bitter and ugly. You're going to regret this. What are you going to tell people? That I was loyal? That I respected your space when you asked for it? Silence. Then the line went dead. I didn't sleep much that night. But I slept better than I would have, if I'd stayed quiet, because Maya had almost signed a lease. Rachel had spent money she might never get back, and the third woman, whoever she was beneath her silence, had deserved the truth too. By the end of the week, one thing became painfully clear. Ethan hadn't lost me because I exposed him. He had lost me 2 months earlier. I just hadn't known it yet. The strange thing about truth is that once it's out, it doesn't just sit still. It spreads.
Quietly. Relentlessly.
And it changes everything it touches. By the following week, the situation had evolved from something painful into something revealing. Not just about Ethan, but about patterns I hadn't seen before. It started with a message from his roommate again. Short.
Direct.
There's more you should know. We ended up talking that night. Not just text this time. A call. Her voice was calmer than I expected. Almost relieved. I didn't just send you those screenshots because of what he did to you, she said. What do you mean? A pause. Then, he's done this before. That sentence landed heavier than anything else. Not because it shocked me, but because it didn't. She told me about another girl. A year ago. Same pattern. Same rotation. Same carefully constructed lies. He convinced her she was imagining things when she got suspicious, she said. He made her feel paranoid, like she was the problem. I felt my jaw tighten. And then, he left her for someone better. The word better sat there for a moment.
Ugly. Hollow.
Too familiar. I watched it happen, she continued, and I didn't say anything back then. I told myself it wasn't my business. Her voice dropped slightly. But when I saw him doing the same thing again, with you, I couldn't stay quiet. I leaned back against my couch, staring at the ceiling. So this wasn't a mistake. Not a phase. Not confusion. It was a system. That realization did something strange. It didn't make me angrier. It made everything clearer. I hadn't been not enough. I had been part of a process. Later that week, Rachel asked if I wanted to meet. In person. I hesitated at first. There's something surreal about sitting across from someone who unknowingly shared your relationship. But I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe.
Neutral ground.
Safe. Rachel looked tired, but composed. She smiled when she saw me, a little awkwardly. I wasn't sure what to expect, she admitted as we sat down. Same. For a few minutes, we talked about normal things.
Work. Weather.
Anything but him. Like circling around a storm neither of us wanted to step into too quickly. Then she pulled out her phone. I did some digging, she said. Of course she had. She showed me screenshots.
Forum posts.
Dating advice threads. Anonymous accounts. But not really anonymous. The writing style was unmistakable. The phrasing. The tone. Ethan. Posts going back over a year. Talking about maximizing options before commitment. About never settling until you've explored your highest value matches. About how to manage overlapping relationships without raising suspicion. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not shock.
Recognition.
This wasn't spontaneous, Rachel said quietly. This is how he thinks. I nodded slowly. He didn't lie because he was confused. No, she said. He lied because it worked. We sat in silence for a moment. Not uncomfortable. Just heavy. You know what the worst part is? Rachel said after a while. He made me feel lucky. I looked at her. He told me I was different, that he'd never met anyone like me. A small, humorless smile. I guess he says that to everyone. I exhaled softly. Yeah, I said, he does. But even as we said it, there was something else underneath. Something harder to name.
Grief.
Not just for him, but for the version of ourselves that had believed him. A few days later, another call came. This time, it was his mother. Her voice was polite. Careful. The kind of tone people use when they're trying to control a situation without sounding like they are. Olivia, she said, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I almost admired the choice of words. Almost. There hasn't, I replied. He's going through a difficult time, she continued. He's under a lot of pressure. I closed my eyes briefly. Pressure doesn't make someone lie to multiple people for months. You're young, she said gently. You don't understand how complicated relationships can be. That almost made me laugh. I understand that honesty isn't complicated. There was a pause. Then her voice shifted slightly. More defensive. He has trust issues, she said. His father left when he was young. It affected him deeply. And there it was. The explanation. The justification. The attempt to turn behavior into something understandable. And for a second, I felt it.
Empathy.
Because pain like that doesn't just disappear. But then I thought about Maya, about Rachel, about the girl from a year ago who had been made to feel crazy. And the empathy settled into something steadier, clearer. I'm sorry that happened to him, I said honestly. But what he chose to do with that pain is still his responsibility.
Silence.
Then, colder. You've embarrassed him. I told the truth. You've damaged his reputation. He damaged it himself. Her tone hardened. You could have handled this privately. I did, I said, until I realized I wasn't the only one being lied to. The conversation ended shortly after that, but it left something behind. A strange kind of certainty. Because for the first time, I wasn't questioning myself. I wasn't wondering if I had overreacted, if I had misunderstood, if I had been too harsh. I knew exactly what had happened, And more importantly, I knew exactly why I had done what I did. Not for revenge, not for closure, but because silence would have made me complicit. And I wasn't willing to carry that. 3 weeks later, the noise finally started to fade. Not disappear. Not completely, but soften enough that I could hear my own thoughts again. The chaos didn't end in one dramatic moment. It unraveled slowly, in fragments. Updates passed between people. Conversations that didn't involve me anymore. Consequences that no longer needed my participation. Maya cut him off completely. Blocked. Gone. No closure, no explanation. Just silence. The kind he had once asked from me. Rachel didn't walk away as quietly. She filed a claim to get her money back. Car repairs.
Trips.
Everything he had promised to repay. I didn't know how it would end, but I respected her for trying. The third woman stayed invisible. No messages. No contact. Just a closed account and a clean break from the entire situation. And honestly, that might have been the healthiest choice of all. As for Ethan, his world didn't collapse. Not entirely. People like him rarely lose everything at once. But it cracked. His friend group split. Some defended him, said it wasn't that serious, that everyone dates around. Others weren't so comfortable with what they'd seen, especially the ones in real relationships. Because once you see something like that, you start asking questions, even in your own life. Trust has a way of spreading. So does doubt. I heard things secondhand, through mutual acquaintances, through the roommate. He was still working, still going out, still functioning, but differently,
Quieter.
more watched. Reputation doesn't always shatter. Sometimes it just shifts and never fully recovers. I thought that would be the end of it. That distance would naturally settle everything into the past. I was wrong. 2 weeks after everything, he showed up. It was a Thursday night. I was in my kitchen again. Same place. Different version of me. The buzzer rang. I almost ignored it, but something told me to check. I pressed the intercom. What is it? A pause. Then his voice. Olivia, please. I froze. Just for a second. What are you doing here? I just need to talk to you. Face to face. No. I brought you something. I don't want anything. Please. I should have ended it there. Turned off the intercom. Walked away. But I didn't. What do you want to say?
Silence.
Then softer. I made a mistake. I let out a slow breath. You made a series of choices. For 2 months. I was scared. Of what? Of picking the wrong person. Of settling. Of losing better options. There it was.
Honest. Finally.
And lying felt like the safer choice? I asked. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to get caught.
Silence.
I never stopped loving you, he said. The words hung there.
Heavy. Familiar.
Useless. You ranked me against 3 other women, I said quietly. You called me safe. I didn't mean it like that. You meant it exactly like that. His voice cracked. People say things when they're insecure. No, I said. People reveal themselves. There was a long pause. Long enough that I thought he might leave. Then, softer. What can I do to fix this? I closed my eyes, and for a brief moment, I let myself feel it. 2 years.
Memories.
Plans. The version of him I thought I knew. Then I opened my eyes again, and it was gone. Nothing, I said. There's nothing to fix. His tone shifted. Not softer. Not pleading.
Sharper.
So that's it? He asked. 2 years just gone? You ended it 2 months ago, I replied. I just found out. Another pause. Then, the mask slipped. You know what? He said, voice cold now. You weren't even that special. I didn't respond. You were predictable. Easy. That's why you felt safe. There it was. The truth without the performance. Without the apology. Without the mask. And strangely, it didn't hurt the way I thought it would. Because now, it made sense. Thank you, I said. He hesitated. For what? For finally being honest. I reached over and turned off the intercom. He stayed outside for a while. I know because my neighbor mentioned it later. Said he paced, talked to himself, sounded angry, then quiet, then gone. And just like that, it was over. No dramatic ending, no reconciliation, no last-minute change of heart. Just clarity. Weeks passed, then more. I started noticing small things. The way my apartment felt different. Lighter. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was peaceful. I began rebuilding routines. New habits. New spaces. My lease was ending soon. I started looking at other neighborhoods. Not to run, but to reset. A new coffee shop. A different morning walk. A version of life that didn't have him woven into every corner. I wasn't healed. Not completely. Some nights still felt heavy. Some memories still stung. But I trusted myself again. And that mattered more than anything else. People asked me if I regretted sending those screenshots. If I thought I had gone too far. If I should have just walked away quietly. The answer never changed. No. Because Maya deserved to know. Rachel deserved to know. Even the woman who disappeared deserved to know. Truth isn't cruelty. Silence is. I didn't destroy his life. I didn't orchestrate anything. I just turned on the light. And what everyone saw after that was already there. That's the end of my story. Or at least, the end of that chapter. What comes next is mine to decide. And this time, I won't ignore the signs.